Moving on, viewers, leaders of the Pacific countries, including the US and also China, gathered in Peru for an Asia-Pacific Economic Cooperation meeting, the first major global summit since US President-elect Donald Trump's election victory. And the annual gathering brings together about 21 economies that jointly account for almost two-thirds of the global GDP and half the world's trade. Here's what transpired.
The first major global summit kicked off in Peru on 15th November. This is the first major summit since US President-elect Donald Trump's election victory in the United States. The annual gathering brings together 21 economies that jointly account for almost two-thirds of global GDP and half of the world's trade. Leaders of the Pacific Rim nations, including the United States and China, gathered for an Asia-Pacific Economic Cooperation meeting. In the APEC meeting, US Secretary of State Antony Blinken called for stronger global engagement. Blinken defended the Biden administration's emphasis on revitalizing global alliances.
Foreign direct investment may be the best measure of trust and confidence in the future. Private sector is not going to put its money on the table without that trust and confidence. I'm very proud that we've made the United States the leading recipient and the leading provider of foreign direct investment in the world.
He highlighted the reason of how US has become the largest source of foreign direct investment.
American businesses had already poured over $1.4 trillion into APEC economies, making the United States the largest source of foreign direct investment within APEC. Meanwhile, APEC economies have invested $1.7 trillion in the United States, from clean energy to semiconductors, supporting 2.3 million American jobs.
Chinese President Xi Jinping met with the President of South Korea, Prime Minister of Thailand and Prime Minister of Singapore on the sidelines of the APEC summit in Peru. As Beijing prepares for the Trump administration's threat to impose 60% tariffs on Chinese goods, Xi asked Yoon to collaborate to protect the international free trade system and maintain global supply chain stability. China further wished to expand the trade and investment ties with Thailand and Singapore as well.
Well, moving on, in a show of solidarity, Japan's foreign minister has visited Ukraine to reaffirm his country's strong support amid the ongoing conflict with Russia. And during the visit, key discussions were centered on the growing military cooperation between North Korea and Russia and Japan's commitment to further sanctions against Moscow.
In the latest developments of Russia-Ukraine showdown, Japanese foreign minister showed solidarity to his Ukrainian counterpart against the North Korean intervention. As 12,000 troops from North Korea marched into Moscow, Kiev and Kursk earlier this month to contribute Russia's offensive in the region, Takeshi Iwaya met his Ukrainian counterpart Andriy Sybiha to reaffirm Japan's strong support. High on the agenda was Tokyo's grave concern over the growing military cooperation between North Korea and Russia. Japan's foreign ministry also said that they discussed further sanctions against Moscow. Japan joined Seoul and the United States among countries that have openly boycotted Kremlin.
The nature of the training Russia is providing to these forces, to include trench clearing, indicates Russia intends to use these forces in frontline operations. If these troops engage in combat or combat support operations against Ukraine, they would render themselves legitimate military targets. And let's be clear, if DPRK soldiers do enter into combat, this would demonstrate Russia's growing desperation in its war against Ukraine.
North Korea's support to Moscow has been dubbed as a flagrant violation of UN sanctions. As per Ukrainian reports, there has been a small-scale fighting in Russia's Kursk border region, where Ukrainian armed forces fired artillery at North Korean soldiers.
І за даними української розвідки, Пхеньян прагне обміняти свою участь у агресії проти України на доступ до російських технологій у ракетній, ядерній та інших військових програмах. Це надзвичайно загрозливо, і все це не може не турбувати наших партнерів, тому і протидіяти таким глобальним загрозам ми маємо разом.
Earlier this month, North Korean Foreign Minister Cho Sun-hui marked a visit to Moscow and confirmed the troop deployments, her meeting with Russia's Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov.
경의하는 김정은 국무위원장 동지께서는 대우크라이나 특수군사작전이 개시된 첫 시기부터 군국의 눈치도 보지 않고 나라의 주권적 권리와 안전유익을 수호하기 위한 러시아 군대와 이민희 정의 성전을 일관하게 강력히 지지 성원하도록 지시하셨습니다.
Western leaders have described the North Korean troop deployment as a significant escalation that has potential to jolt peace in the Indo-Pacific region.